No, my recorder's separate. It's old school.
No, that's okay.
It's simple.
Campbell's soup can.
Yes, pretty close. So I pulled up the clod of dirt.
Yeah.
And I looked up the words "sisen."
Yeah.
And it from "sisen," I looked up. It said "seize," verb, and then I went from "seize" to "set," and then from "set" to "sect," S-E-C-T. Well, like a religious community. Anyway, and down below it had S-E-K, which is a root. It says the Proto-Indo-European meaning to cut.
Really?
Yeah.
So you went from...
I went from Sisan, just following their words. Season, or however you say it, and you go to seize. And This is etymology. And then I went, and on it had set, so I went to set. And from set, it had sect, and I went to sect, and then I scrolled down to the bottom of sect, and it went to entries linking to sect, S-K-W-S-E-K, and the Proto-Indo-European root meaning to cut.
Well, if you think about it, it's dividing up land or dividing up an estate. It's cutting up land and doling it out to your knights and lords and what have you.
I happened across a book in the giveaways here that's called Measuring America.
Yeah.
And it's about surveying. And it's talking about in this book he's saying, and it's 1538 when they started actually measuring land as not just what the production. Before it wasn't really what the size of the land was; it was the production of the land. And from when Henry VIII seized all the monasteries, then they started measuring it as the land itself, and the land became money. Became a way to... It switched from production to how much money can I get for the land, is what he's saying. I'm just in the beginning of it, but yeah.
So output or production is what you were calling it. It switched from output or production to the land itself.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about that, I mean, I might have 10,000 acres, but only so much of it is productive. Mm-hmm. But what I think the earlier version was, they were counting heads of cattle or whatever, and the product of that cattle. So I got 100 cow, and it produces this much product. Yeah, that's what the king would be taxing. Mm-hmm. He'd be claiming, some portion of that output. Mm-hmm. So he switched over in the 1500s to the land itself. Right, and before the 1500s, the only ownership was the king, and the others were they. I think that, if I am understanding right, they got part of the production of it, but they didn't. It still wasn't ownership. The idea, he's saying, the idea of ownership of the land itself really started in the 15th century in the way that we do it now. Wow. I'm sorry. Yes. It would be 1538, so it would have been the 14th century. Yeah. So wow. Just interesting. It's it's just interesting that you're talking about this week, and this is the book I picked up to read. No, that's serendipitous. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How often do you get an opportunity to use that word? Yes, really. Well, what's really interesting is, let me listen to it first. Let me just do this. Okay. Season. Okay. Okay, that's how that's pronounced. I didn't know how to pronounce it either. But document I sent you is years old.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
And, I mean, yeah, we probably talked about it a long time ago on some other call. And it's interesting because obviously you just picked up something and you were looking into that. But I mean, when you think about songs like Turn, Turn, Turn for every season, I mean, you could think they're speaking about nature and the four seasons, or, you know, winter, spring, summer, fall type thing. Or you could be thinking about season, SEISIN.
Yeah.
There is a season, turn, turn, turn. So, and of course, the word attorn or attorney is to turn over to someone else property, or to move property between possessors, if you want to look at it that way. Yeah. Because in the common law, or the common man, there is no private property. It can't be, because it's common. Everything's in common. You know, when people talk about the commonwealth, I mean, that's what those participants have in common. And when you talk about common law, it's for the common man. Well, my question to you is, Linda, do you consider yourself common?
No.
Okay, well, there's the problem right there. That might be the root of the problem, is that by people accepting the common aspect, or becoming common with others, they're allowing for the taking of their biology into one giant public pool. One communal person, one communal biology.
Yeah.
And by doing so, everybody has a stake in everybody else's life, so to speak.
I realized that I used to think I was special. And I was always, I think, teased for that, you know.
Well,
or put down, you know. So anyway, but I know that's a word with lots of landmines too.
Yeah, because you really didn't want to be in a special education class.
No.
Because if you're special, you're diminished.
Right, exactly.
You're working in a diminished capacity.
Right.
All right, I'm going to go get the gate for Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah, this will be fun today. I mean, of course, it's always fun, but I really like what I've discovered this week.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting, and especially with the book you just picked up.
Yeah.
And a clod of dirt, all these years, you know, I was mistaken, thinking that the clod was something that I don't believe it is now.
Ah, okay.
This will be cool. So.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, I'm excited because, you know, I already had this information or this knowledge. I just hadn't put it together. It's like that CIA thing last week, Saipan, and you know. So
we're going from Saipan to season.
Yeah. Well, there is a season.
Yes.
But they're all connected. Everything's always connected.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Oh, it's really brisk outside right now, but
it's down in
pretty.
20 here, but it's finally today blue sky and no wind. Oh my God, the wind here is eternal.
Yeah, it's a little breezy here. I think it did get down to the 20s last night. Debbie's funny; she has to have the windows open, so I woke up late today, which is why I asked to push this back a little bit. I woke up really late because I was under the covers all night.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Close the gate now, and I'm back in the house in about 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I got.
Yeah, I'm wasting time. Actually, I'm trying to wake up. I've had about 4 sips of coffee, so I'm just barely functioning. Functioning. It sounds like feng shui to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's get rolling here. Debbie's out of here, so I can talk.
Okay.
I mean, after 13 years, I still hate to talk about this shit around her. I mean, seriously, it's hard. You know it is. It's hard.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm at Season on Merriam-Webster.
Okay, I didn't go there. Let me go there.
I wanted to hear I know that they pronounce words there, so I just went there and it says Season, the possession of land or chattels. 2, it says the possession of a freehold estate in land by one having title thereto. Let me say that second one again. The possession of a freehold estate in land by one having title thereto, which is really what this today is all about. So years ago, I was trying to figure out if somebody could shoot a couple of barbs into my left shoulder and light me up, in other words, tase me, to me, that was a trespass. And to me, it was a trespass across my biology. But my biology is the land of my soul. My biology is the land of my spirit.
Yeah.
So if somebody is able to break and enter, breaking and entering, I think tasing me is breaking and entering.
Yeah.
I think by shooting barbs across the membrane called skin, by breaking the skin, that's breaking and entering. They entered my biological constituency. They entered my biological kingdom. And I'm the Lord and master of that kingdom. So to me, again, that was criminal. There is no reasoning behind that breaking and entering. Now, that led me to the idea that if somebody could trespass across my skin, then they're able to come onto my biological land or onto my land. And that's how my mind works. Somebody has decided that my body, my land, has been made public, or somehow it's got confused with somebody else's property. And so they're acting upon my property by mistake.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could justify what happened. And even to this day, it's the only way, is that somebody made a mistake. So I wanted to find a way to get them off my land. And the only word that I came up with was ejectment. Ejectment. So if somebody's able to somehow enter my world, my kingdom, my biology, I was looking for a way of ejectment. So let's go to ejectment real quick at Wiki.
Okay.
I mean, we could go to Blacks, but I don't want to. I'm not prepared for that yet. My mental capacity is still diminished. You can call me special right now. So ejectment.
Did the way your Merriam-Webster looks change?
No, this one didn't. You mean change back or change?
Well, no, it looks black, and mine looks different than I've ever seen it before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This one looked the same, but
I don't know where I. It says it's the same, 1828, but it just looks weird. So anyway.
Oh, okay. You're going to that. Well, you went to that Webster's.
Well, I just went to it's just Webster's. It's just Merriam-Webster's. No, I didn't go to that one. But it just looks completely different than it's ever been before. But anyway.
Oh, okay. Anyway. So I'm at ejectment at Wikipedia. Again, remember, I'm trying to get somebody off of my biology, off of my land. Ejectment says is a common law term for civil action to recover the possession of or title to land. It replaced the old real actions and the various possessory assizes denoting county-based pleas to local sittings of the courts. That should raise some eyebrows there.
Yeah.
It says it replaced the old real actions and the various possessory assizes, denoting county-based pleas to local sittings of the courts, where boundary disputes often featured. So ejectment is a common law term for a civil action to recover possession of or title to land. And that's what an ejectment is. And we're still probably thinking that when it's all said and done today, that an ejectment is what has to occur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it might end up being that even after we talk.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it says it replaced, ejectment replaced the old real actions and the various possessory assizes, denoting county-based pleas to local sittings of the court where boundary disputes often featured. Well, let me ask you this right off the bat: the placenta.
Mm-hmm.
Two pieces of property, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baby's biology, mom's biology. They're adjacent properties, one right next to another. So it's easy for somebody to cross over into somebody else's property if the placenta is in play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's easy for me to move on to or get onto mom's property or mom to get onto my property if the placenta is in play, because it's hard to distinguish whose property is what. It's a fetal-maternal organ. It's hard to say, well, this part of the organ is mom's and this part of the organ is baby's. Now, it's easy to do at the scientific level, but if they're just capturing it there at the hospital and throwing it in a bag, they haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they give it one title, if they give the placenta one title, now you have there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because a piece of it's mom and a piece of it's me.
Yes.
I call it a title bout, like a championship boxing match. It's a title bout.
Yeah.
It's the championship over who owns the property.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a boundary dispute.
Mm-hmm.
Who owns that organ?
Yeah.
Who owns the organ?
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a singular thing. It's two things together. You'd have to consider the placenta to be a true tertium quid in order for the placenta to be a new third thing other than baby or mom.
Yeah.
So there's baby and there's mom, and then there's this new thing, this new third thing called placenta. Well, in reality, we know that's not true because the biology of the placenta is part of the baby, and the biology of the placenta is part of mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of mom's uterine wall, and it's actually the extra-embryonic membranes of my origin.
When did they create the use of the word tertium quid? Do you know?
I'm shocked that you haven't already looked.
Well, I looked up a C's in etymology, which I'm just looking at Merriam-Webster's, but it has etymology, maybe because I do that all the time. But it's from Latin to sit beside, is one of the.
What is?
A C's is from Latin essedere, to sit beside.
Okay, so even think about that. Boundary or adjacent properties. Mm-hmm. One sits beside the other. Mm-hmm. If you really look at it, you got to have some imagination here. Mm-hmm. Tertium quid at etymology.
Okay.
It's 1724.
Okay.
It says something indeterminate between two other things. Latin, literally third something, from tertius, third or a third, from the root tres or three. It says a loan translation of Greek triton tai, used in alchemy for unidentified element present in a combination of two known ones. Think about that, an unidentified element present in a combination of two known ones. Mm-hmm. The Latin word also figures in phrases tertium non datur, no third possibility exists.
That's ours.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
No third possibility exists, and then Tertius Gaudens, a third party that benefits from conflict between the other two.
Wow.
There it is. That's what they're doing.
Wow.
The conflict over who owns, that's the war, by the way. Remember, when they cut the umbilical, they separate the tertium quid. They separate the placenta from us, and then that's the end that everybody's fighting over. Mm-hmm. Be it the church or the state or whatever, because I believe that end, that estate, is also the Holy Grail. But what it is it's the only inheritable position. Mm-hmm. So whoever controls that property controls your entire output, your product.
Yeah.
And all the product that led up to it. It's your inheritance.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to control the placenta.
Yeah. You know, I think in this day and age, most people don't even think about inheritance anymore.
Well, that's because there isn't any. That's because it's not a possibility. Yeah. I mean, first of all, again, it sounds like I backtrack a lot. I don't. Private property is untaxable. Mm-hmm. Private property is untaxable, and nobody knows that, or nobody seemingly knows that. Mm-hmm. If I actually own something, you can't tax it. Mm-hmm. Nobody can. Mm-hmm. If I own my labor, it's untaxable. Mm-hmm. Which is why I don't understand why people think the IRS is when they are paying income tax, while they say, well, my taxes. I don't have taxes. Mm-hmm. On private property, there are no taxes. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that could be taxable is community property or commonwealth property, where it's not yours, or it's not just yours, I should say.
Well, I had a friend who carried his bill of sale on his car around with him, and he was always speeding, so he'd get stopped. And, you know, he had the tags and everything, but when they asked him for anything, he would just hand them the bill of sale. And 99% of the time, the police would just walk away.
Well, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because they don't have a claim upon any aspect, so it's none of their business.
Exactly. Yeah, it just proves your point. That's the only reason I brought it up.
Yeah. I mean, it's. But again, private property not being taxable. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing that people seem to fail to remember. Mm-hmm. So the only thing is, if somebody's claiming that this piece of property is taxable, the question is, I thought that was mine. Mm-hmm. I thought that car was mine. I thought, well, there you go. Now you start asking the right questions, and you realize that if it's all communal property, all community property, if nobody owns anything, then everything's taxable.
Yeah.
And that's where they got us to. That's why people, what was your statement that people what? They don't think about inheritance. Because there isn't any inheritable position. Mm-hmm. You can't inherit public property.
Yeah.
I think you can be in a succession to public property, but you can't inherit it. Not the same thing.
If you don't own it, you don't inherit. You can't pass it on.
You can't, but you can succeed to it. In other words, if I'm next in line, that's a succession. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't. I mean, that's different than ownership or inheritance.
Yeah,
they seem similar, but they're not the same. I mean, I split hairs here all day long. So
no, that's good.
That's my job.
That's right.
And I'm not self-employed because, you know, that implies two positions, doesn't
Somebody
it?
said that to me the other day, and your voice went through my head. I didn't say anything to him, but it was like...
I had that conversation with somebody the other day, too, is that self-employment, it implies both an employee and employer. So if I'm only one entity, I can't be both employee and employer. I'm only one position. I'm the owner. And owners, you know, they work for themselves and they own what they produce. Employees do not. Mm-hmm. You know, that implies that there's two positions when I only exist as one entity. Mm-hmm. Again, they got us agreeing to absolute nonsense.
Yes.
And you got all these guys that are really proud that they're self-employed when they don't realize how ignorant they are when they use that term.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, even in function, I mean, in self-employed it's in a lot of ways, in the way the system is set up, a worse position than if you're just an employee as far as tax on your time and energy. I mean, they get you in every way if you claim to be part of the public and you're self-employed. It sucks.
Well, I mean, think about that. They get you on the one end as the employer,
Mm-hmm.
and you pay certain things, and you're forced to pay for benefits or whatever. And then you got the employee on the other end,
So
who's also paying income tax.
Yeah, so it's a double tax. They get you twice.
It is.
Yeah.
It's double dipping, and yet it's only you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm disgusted
Mm-hmm.
that we're so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm only one.
Yeah.
I'm only one being. I can't do anything. All right, there's my second cup of coffee. I'm starting to feel it kick in. Back to, I'm going to jumpstart myself again by going back to tertium quid.
Huh.
You know, I know people mentally shut down when I say words like tertium quid. That's Tertium, tertium, and quid, Quid.
So,
Again, go ahead.
Go ahead, tertium quid.
I'm always talking about the placenta.
Yeah.
Is it a tertium quid? The answer is no.
No.
But it gets taken as a tertium quid. It is presumed something different from baby and mom. It is presumed a composition of matter that is neither mom nor baby. It's presumed to be some new 92 chromosome entity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in fact, it is not.
The whole legal financial system is based on that assumption and presumption.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Because without it being separate from mom and baby, it is not patentable. My biology, baby's biology, is not patentable. The 46 chromosomes, the unique chromosomes of my own, are natural or in nature, and nature's not patentable. But they can actually take a piece of me, my biology, if it's left in the placenta and called something new, and they can patent it as a composition of matter. Now they have a piece of my biology in their patented claim.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they get you into the courtroom. That's how they can get a body attachment.
Yeah.
That's how they can bring you into a cause of action when it's really none of your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You become a third party to their two-party agreement.
Yeah.
Through the placenta.
Yeah.
People don't think it's important to remember that organ has their biology in it.
Yeah.
And they're going to find your biology at every crime scene they ever show up at.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's if there's one community biology, if there's one communal person, everybody's guilty.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that. Do you
No.
realize that every crime committed by any one person, every crime happening everywhere in the world, you're guilty of?
Well.
You're guilty of it because your biology is pooled with the criminal's biology.
Yeah. And that's my experience when I was in 6th grade. If anything went wrong in the school, the 6th grade was the guilty party, and the whole class had to write lines.
Hey, birds of a feather is an old saying, but
Yeah.
you know what? Didn't your mom say, hey, be careful who you hang around with, who you associate with?
Yeah. No, probably
Well, that's
not.
the same thing with the public DNA pool.
Yes, absolutely.
Everybody decent and everybody evil are in that pool.
Yep. There's no discrimination. No discernment.
There's no discernment. Everybody's guilty of everything.
Yeah. Instead of innocent until proven guilty, you're guilty until proven innocent.
It's immediate.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in that pool is guilty of every crime ever committed.
Yeah, wow.
That's a major hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, wow, that is.
Okay, wow.
So,
I guess I'm warmed up. I'm getting warmed up.
You're getting warmed up. So I looked up inheritance and etymology, and it's just interesting that the other words that they bring up with it is hereditary, and then the next one is purebred.
Wow.
Of unmixed inheritance or ancestry.
And that is your 46 chromosomes.
Exactly. I'm a purebred.
It's your pre-implantation zygotic or conceptus matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your business is purely your business.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And guess when it came into, it's from, guess when it started?
What year?
1868.
You got to be kidding me.
No.
So 1868, the year of the 14th Amendment citizenship.
Yes, so they
creation.
made sure that the purebreds had a word, the people who knew who they were.
And that's exactly where we're going. We're going back to the purebred,
Mm-hmm.
the unmixed, and the unmixed is our pure 46 chromosome. By the way, that's the innocent position.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the innocence is prior to the cut. Remember, the cut establishes what they call original sin in some circles. So now, from that moment on, the cut imperfect man. I say imperfect man because we are all perfect until the cut.
Right. Well, and
We're all WHOLE is perfection. Whole
Yes.
is perfection.
It says pure is mid-13th century, of gold, unalloyed, 13th century, unmixed, unadulterated, homogeneous, also total, complete, absolute, bare, mere, also sexually pure, virgin, chaste, pure, simple, and then bred is reared, brought up, past participle of breed.
So if we're unmixed
Mm-hmm.
with any other,
Mm-hmm.
remember, my 46 chromosomes are unique.
Mm-hmm.
When dad's 23 chromosomes from his sperm fertilize mom's 23 chromosomes from her ovum,
Mm-hmm.
my 46 chromosomes have yet to exist until fertilization.
Correct.
When fertilization occurs, it becomes a singularity of 46 chromosomes,
Mm-hmm.
never having existed before and never will exist ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, after my last breath.
Right.
My point is, it's pure.
Yes.
It's pure. It's unmixed. It's not mixed with the public. It's not mixed. It's not mixed.
Mm-mm.
Now, the reason that's important is because that's my kingdom.
Yep.
That's my kingdom. My 46 chromosomes, I'm the Lord over that. I am God over that 46 chromosomes.
And in truth, no one can ever enter that kingdom. It's yours.
No, that breaking and entering is exactly what occurs with the cutting of the umbilical.
Mm-hmm.
By cutting the umbilical, to cut is to break, but we'll get into that. But breaking and entering is exactly what occurs.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it through the Navy.
Yeah.
They do it through that outfit.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this is really amazing stuff because nobody cares enough to learn it.
Yeah, it says from the Latin purus is pure, clean, clear, unmixed, unadorned, chaste, undefiled.
In the movie or in the TV show from the 60s, the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the opening scene where it says the names were changed to protect the innocent?
Yes.
That's exactly what the birth certificate is. It's taking the pure material that was cut off or cut apart, and it's letting the heathen, it's letting the baby, the heathen onto the land, becoming an indigenous person.
Wow.
That from that point forward is the product of original sin.
Wow.
Think about this, and naked. I'm gonna look up etymology. Naked or nude.
Nude would
This
be
is important because Okay, naked, adjective, Old English, nakad, nude, unclothed, bare, empty. Not fully clothed. A sense still used in, okay, I don't have to go any further right now. In the womb, the embryo, fetus, baby is covered.
Mm-hmm.
It's covered with the extra embryonic material.
Yep.
So the embryo, fetus, baby in the womb is covered.
Mm-hmm.
It's not naked.
Mm-mm.
But when baby comes out of the womb and they cut the cord, the baby on the land is naked.
Yeah.
He's a naked savage, a naked indigenous person.
Wow.
He's unclothed. He's naked because the clothing from the womb has been cut off of him.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they do? How does this individual clothe himself? He clothes himself in a birth certificated character.
Mm-hmm.
That piece of paper is
the cloth, the substitute clothing,
what in the Bible, in the biblical story. When somebody finds out they're naked, what do they clothe themselves in?
I don't know.
Adam and Eve, when they recognized that they were naked, what did they do? A fig leaf.
A fig leaf. Fuck. Yeah.
They covered themselves with fig leaves.
Yeah.
Or a fig leaf.
Sheaf.
Fig is short for figure.
Yeah.
And leaf is the word for a paper.
Yeah.
So a paper figure. They clothe themselves in a character.
Yeah.
A paper figure character.
Mm-hmm.
Which happens to be a public figure.
Yeah.
So that's original sin.
And thereby being guilty of all the sins of the world.
Absolutely. They're covered now. They're covered. I mean, in the world, not of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we come out of the womb into the world, but then we cover ourselves with this fig leaf birth certificate.
Wow.
And we're covered in sin.
Yeah.
And the definition of sin is debt.
Yes.
And why is there a debt? Because we didn't pay for the transportation. We didn't pay, for some reason, there's an agreement apparently somewhere. It's not real. It's all artifice. But the travel between nowhere and now here, somebody has to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I arrive at the port of entry, somebody's trying to collect that transportation fee.
Yeah.
Transportation fee, F-E-E. Fee also is the pronunciation of PHI.
Mm-hmm.
PHI is personal health information, also known as the divine proportion.
Yeah.
So they're collecting the cover. It's a cover charge.
Yeah.
It's a cover charge to enter the new world.
Yeah.
They charge you pay by giving them your cover.
Mm-hmm.
And then you enter the costume party for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You put on their costume, their fig leaf character, their birth certificated person.
That's your...
Now you're covered. You were once naked, a naked heathen, a naked indigenous person, but now you're covered with what? Civility.
Yeah.
How do you cover yourself? With the civil calendar character, which is the birth certificated Gregorian calendar character.
Yeah.
Now you're civil. Mm-hmm. You're covered in civility. Mm-hmm. You used to be a heathen, a pagan, a non-Christian on the land, and now you're covered in, you're clothed with the ecclesiastical vestment provided for you at the port of entry. Mm-hmm. The fig leaf, the figure on paper.
So could you say that, if we go back to the clod of dirt, that their taking of the placenta is they're taking it as the fee or the toll for the port of entry?
That is the PHI, the fee.
Yeah.
They're taking it literally as a cover charge.
Yeah.
It's a cover charge.
Yeah.
Like to go into any club, to go into anything, they're saying, "Hey, there's a cover charge to come into here."
Mm-hmm. So
so they take your cover. They take
the literal cover.
Literally, they take your biological cover.
Yeah. So
on deposit.
So there's in the system, there's no way to enter without a cover fee.
Well, we're going to get to that. That's why this call is so important, because there is a way.
Okay. Okay. Let me put it this way: without knowledge, there is no way.
No, knowledge again is the key.
Yeah. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Yes, and that knowledge is this piece of information.
Yeah.
What I'll disclose today is that knowledge. It's very specific, species specific.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the piece that's missing that evidences ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Your direct ownership, by the way. And no, it doesn't need to go to any court. That's why it's back to the word ejectment. I'm going to go back to ejectment.
Okay.
Well, first of all, hang on a second. I'm going to finish with naked.
Okay.
Again, so remember, in the womb, you're surrounded. You actually have a cover, a biological cover, the extraembryonic membranes. But when you come out of mom into the new world, they clamp a cord and cut it and leave that cover behind as a cover charge. Mm-hmm. And they take that and place it on deposit as the res, R-E-S, to the in God we trust. Or what a lot of people around the world would say, it's the Sedeke Vi trust. It's the Sedeke. So they place the God material, the material that evidences your godly origin, on deposit. And they give you a piece of paper, which is the fig leaf. They take your God biology, the origin of the species, they put it on deposit, and they give you a piece of paper. They took what God created, or Mother Nature and God in combination. You know, the intelligent design of God plus the evolutionary process of nature. If you want to look at it that way. That's why I say Darwin meets God. They take that biology, which is yours and yours alone, and they place it on deposit, and they give you something that they created. Again, that which you create, you control. They don't control the cover, the biological cover. They do control the character born of that cover.
Yes, that's a very important distinction.
Yeah, so my biology on deposit that gives rise to a title for that biology. Now, if I already own the biology, but I accept a title representative of that biology, they created the title. So they created a reduction to paper of my three-dimensional spirit-filled biology.
Makes you think of the Paper Reduction Act in a very different way, doesn't it?
Oh my God, yeah. Well, look at now they're reducing even further to nothing. They're taking what was once on paper, including currency, and they're going to reduce it to nothing. And there are morons out there that think that virtual money or invisible money or totally pretend money is a good thing. I can't think of anybody dumber than people accepting nothing for something. Absolutely nothing. Unbelievable. This is probably the one thing that gets me actually angry, is that there are fucking idiots to get rich. I'm making money on Bitcoin. I'm making money on all these virtual ideas.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually exist.
No.
They're 100% based on faith. They need everybody's belief to have any value.
Yeah.
How dumb can we get?
Yeah.
Hey, if I go out and dig a hole in your backyard, we have an agreement that you need a hole. Mm-hmm. And I pick up my shovel, a physical shovel with my physical hands, and I go into your physical backyard and I dig a physical hole. All that stuff exists.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're going to tell me that somewhere in an invisible wallet on an electronic screen, you've paid me.
Mm-hmm.
And that some middleman had to place that number into that invisible account so that I could go get real bread with that invisible money. I'm disgusted.
So it's just another middleman continuing.
It's another middleman.
Yeah.
People that actually believe this shit say, oh, no. There is nobody in between. Bullshit. They still don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
The people that created all this fake, this crypto
mm-hmm.
are the same people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm moving the podium away. Naked, Old English, nude, unclothed, bare, empty. Empty. Also not fully clothed, still in the sense of, okay, Proto-Germanic, also Old Friscan, naked, blah, 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 Dutch, neck, okay. I'm looking for, okay, of things, without the usual or customary covering. Naked, of things, without the usual or customary covering, like a sword.
Mm-hmm.
A sword. A sword without its sheath
mm-hmm.
is considered naked.
Mm-hmm.
From the Old English, applied to qualities, actions, etc. Mere, pure, open to view, unconcealed. Well, don't they call it discovered?
Mm-hmm.
Discovery.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear the court say, did you do your discovery? Yeah, the attorneys yell. Yeah, sure we did. What did they do? They discovered you.
Mm-hmm.
They uncovered you.
They uncovered you.
They found you.
Yep.
They discovered what? They discovered the hole, and they turned it into the naked heathen that needs to be converted.
Yeah.
Through Inter Cetera.
Yeah.
So they found another indigenous person, a naked savage that needs to be converted to Christianity, mm-hmm. to be recovered.
Yeah.
Recovery.
Mm-hmm.
When do you hear the word recovery?
When you're sick?
Yes. When you're sick. When you have bad habits like heroin and such.
Mm-hmm.
You're in recovery.
Yeah.
They're recovering you. They're making you whole again.
Mm-hmm.
But first they discover you.
Right.
So they uncover you so that they can convert you to recover you. And then that's called the administrative process.
And they do that all with within the agreement to be the character.
They already have the material that makes you whole on deposit,
mm-hmm.
but you're the one using the birth certificated fig leaf.
Right.
So when they find you using the birthday fig leaf character, you're uncovered.
Yes.
They take that fig leaf off and they go, look, we have a heathen, we have a pagan,
mm-hmm.
we have a native that needs to be converted to Christianity.
Right.
And that's what they do.
Mm-hmm. Over and over and over.
Over and over and over again. They discover or uncover, and then they recover.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on to say, mere, pure, open to view, unconcealed. The naked truth is from early 15th century. Naked as a jaybird was earlier naked as a robin, 1879. The eye unassisted by any naked eye. The eye unassisted by any instrument is from the 1660s. So again, to be naked is to be not whole.
Nudie. Did you look down at that one?
Nudie?
Yeah, N-U-D-I. Hairless, leafless, naked.
Leafless. Unbelievable. Okay. See, it's these tangents that are fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going back to ejectment again because remember, I'm trying to get these people off my land, off my biology.
Right.
I'm trying to get them out of my business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to start over. It says ejectment is a common law term. Now, disregard the word common law because that's what everybody says. Everybody in the world is subject to the common law if their biology is in the public pool.
Yes.
Which is really everybody at this point.
Yeah. So where are you at?
I'm at ejectment at Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, okay.
It's a common law term for civil action. Again,
that means you've taken on their character if you're in civil.
Because the civil calendar character, civil is Gregorian, which came out, that calendar came out in 1582. So civil society, civil calendar, civil action. That's what the Civil War was about. It was about to take the whole man and clothe him in a civil character. And they did it with the 14th Amendment citizen. The 14th Amendment citizen is a civil character subject to civil law. But remember, he's born to the civil calendar. And who authorized that calendar?
Pope Gregory.
The Pope in 1582. So who owns that character?
The Pope, the Church.
And that character is for the conception and the conceived materials, the implantation material, which is the placenta.
Yeah.
Which also correlates directly with the human creature that the Pope claimed in 1302 in Unum Sanctum.
Right.
So the Pope, the Church of Rome keeps claiming the placenta.
Yeah.
As if it's their property.
And by what year was it that the word tertium quid came into existence? They had another word for it.
Here it is. Okay, ejectment is a common law term for civil action. To recover the possession of or title to land. So again, think of the title. It's a piece of paper that represents ownership.
Right.
It represents ownership.
Represents.
Right. It all it does is evidence ownership in a paper society. Paper, papal. In a paper realm, in an XY flat Earth existence, paper is king.
Yeah.
Living people are only represented by characters on paper.
Yeah.
And if you own the paper realm, you own everything, because that's what this world is. Now they're going to go to a non-paper realm, a totally virtual realm, where it doesn't even require paper. And it's going to be completely in one singular computer somewhere, and they will actually control everything through nothing. They have no claim to anything. They only have our belief in it. And that is crypto.
Yeah.
It says ejectment replaced the old real actions in various possessory seizes, denoting county-based pleas to local sittings of the court where boundary disputes often featured, though still used in some places. By the way, when you see a statement like that, though still used in some places, it says the term is now obsolete in many common law jurisdictions. in which possession and title are sued by the actions of eviction, also called possession proceedings, and quiet title, or injunctive and or declaratory relief, respectively. Injunctions, declaratory judgments, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It says originally successful ejectment meant recovery of possession of land, for example, against a defaulting tenant or a trespasser who did not have or no longer had any right to remain there. It has continued to be used for this, though in some jurisdictions the terminology has changed. It says the right to remain there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back to Haslam versus Lockwood. This is going to take a lot of turns today, but it always comes down to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
A very simple idea. WHOLE.
Mm-hmm.
When you're whole, you have extricated yourself from all the fictional stories.
Mm-hmm.
There is no fiction for the whole.
Right.
Okay, but look what it says here. For example, against a defaulting tenant or a trespasser who did not have or no longer had any right to remain there. Remains.
Yes.
Human remains. When they cut the umbilical cord and think of it falling to the ground, the fallen man,
Mm-hmm.
the fallen angel, it falls to the ground of the hospital, to the floor of the hospital, as human remains.
Yes.
A piece of me, the human biology that is now remaining there. I go home with mom and dad as baby, but I have some human remains that have been left behind at the hospital, and they're on the floor. The hospital
Mm-hmm.
can say, hey, listen, we have this patient that never left. We have this unclaimed child, this foundling that was left on our doorstep, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
This infant biology that is laying on our floor remains there.
Mm-hmm.
The hospital is located in my case, let's say in Rockford, the city of Rockford or the township of Rockford. So that remains, those human remains are in the city
Mm-hmm.
via the hospital. The hospital is also located, or Rockford's located within the county of Winnebago. So those remains are in the county. The county of Winnebago is in the state of Illinois, so those remains are in the state of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
The state of Illinois is within the United States of America, lower 48 states. So the remains are in the United States
Mm-hmm.
of America.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois is in the United States. So it remains in the United States separately.
Mm-hmm.
And also because it fell to the ground, it's in North America.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually, the remains are in North America, which is subject to inter terra.
Right.
What I'm getting at is look at all of these fictitious jurisdictions that have a claim upon the remains.
Yeah.
And yet I'm here sitting at my dining room table getting all riled up drinking coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any remains. I didn't remain anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But a piece of me through the tertium quid placenta, through that presumed tertium quid placenta,
Mm-hmm.
is remaining somewhere. That's why the Clash song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? What's that one line? It says,
I don't know it.
if I stay, there will be trouble. If I go, there will be double.
Yeah.
Look at that line. If I stay, there will be trouble. If I go, there will be double.
Wow.
That's exactly what happens to us.
Mm-hmm.
If we stay, there's a war over that biology.
Yeah, if we stay, then from their point of view, we were the who that did not have a right to remain there.
Right. Mm-hmm. Correct, I mean. We are now either trespassers or we're tenants.
Mm-hmm.
If we go, we split ourselves in two.
Yeah.
Because a piece of us is here and a piece of us is back there remaining.
So then
if I stay, there will be trouble. If I go, there will be double.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Heads they win, tails I lose.
That's exactly what this is. Heads they win, tails I lose.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on to say, originally successful ejectment meant recovery of possession of land, for example, against a defaulting tenant or a trespasser. Again, they're looking at it from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to eject us from the hospital, eject us from the city, eject us
from the paper world, basically.
From their us, the private.
Uh-huh.
From their realm, from their kingdom.
So you said from their private?
Yeah, I mean, everything looks like it's not private. It's all private.
Right.
The public is private. Somebody owns it.
Yeah, yeah.
They coined the phrase public, and they own that phrase. So if you're found in the public, if you're part of the public, somebody owns that.
You're a tenant of someone.
You're the tenant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the public, you're the tenant. You're not the owner.
Mm-hmm. So they're basically saying, if you trespass on my land, then you owe me.
You have to pay.
A fee.
You have to pay the toll
mm-hmm.
to go in and out of their, on and off of their land.
Right.
But so again. I don't think people understand. I mean, the whole what people talk about as the straw man. That's all built around these ideas.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even like to read. I don't even know if I.
But all of that is all premised on that Haslam versus Lockwood, that this got left behind in one man's trash is another man's treasure to be claimed, and so they claimed it. They created something, and then I take that. If I use that birthday and claim that character, that paper character, then I have to pay a toll anytime I go in and out of that world, just like you said. That's what they created.
Well, and Haslam versus Lockwood is an 1871 court case mm-hmm. where the owners of the horses or the carriage with the horses were traveling through on a public road.
Yeah, and tertium quid was created in 1724, so it was a while before.
But
okay.
the point is that the presumed horse poop as being presumed waste material.
Right.
So that's the presumption. It has to be waste. It has to be abandoned first.
Mm-hmm.
And this is negated the moment you become one, because are you not still using the biology that has been presumably abandoned as the fallen?
Yes.
Yes, you're still using it. In fact, it's the exact same biology. It's the exact same DNA.
Yes.
Now, the problem with that is they're going to say, yeah, but you didn't go back and clean up your mess.
Yeah.
You left a piece of you as biohazard on our floor.
Mm-hmm.
You left a piece of you as biohazard. No, I didn't. I didn't leave anything. I'm still using it.
Mm-hmm.
See, the truth negates everything
mm-hmm.
that is false.
Yeah.
The whole truth. The whole truth is, from fertilization to this moment, is one biology.
Yeah.
So if I'm still using it today, I'm using all of it.
Yes.
So what you have presumably on deposit is a lie.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Because it isn't me. I'm right here.
Yeah.
Everything you're doing is fraud.
Right.
Based upon me being here now.
Mm-hmm. I'm evidence of the truth of the matter.
I am the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
I could go into ejectment further, but I think people need to do that on their own so they can understand how the John Doe character comes into play, because it's a little confusing if you're not actually thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But ejectment is my effort to quiet the title, or to prove that I have a right to be there.
Yeah.
Now, before I get too far away, you said something just a second ago about the clod of dirt. There are two potential clods of dirt. If I leave the placenta, that includes my biology, on the ground of the hospital,
mm-hmm.
on the floor of the hospital. If I leave that rock, that clod of dirt placenta,
mm-hmm.
On the county of Winnebago, if I leave that clod of dirt on the state of Illinois, if I leave that clod of dirt on North America, you can see that the placenta could be a clod of dirt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, the placenta could be presumed a clod of dirt. So what we need to do is let's go, before we get too far away, and go to clod of dirt.
Okay.
Clod of dirt. Originally, the ownership of land in England, this is a paper that I put together, I don't know, more than 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Originally, the ownership of land in England could be passed to another. Originally, the ownership of land could be passed to another only by delivering the actual possession of the land. The present owner passed title to another by picking up a clod of dirt directly from the land.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are standing out in the middle of my field,
mm-hmm.
in front of witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
I reach down and pick up a clod of dirt right off of the land. That's the clod of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
By picking up a clod of dirt on the land and handing it to the other person in front of others from the community. This ceremonial act from ancient times was called livery of season, or delivery of possession. Instead of a clod, a twig or a key could be handed over as a symbol of ownership, but only later was it permissible to deliver the symbol of ownership anywhere but on the land itself. In other words, they found a way to not be on the land, but
mm-hmm.
still transfer ownership.
Mm-hmm.
It says, as time passed and writing became more common, a written deed could symbolize the delivery of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of the ceremony was to make the acquiring of land a public act, generally known in the community, so that disputes were less likely to arise.
So,
okay,
could you say that by leaving the placenta on the floor of the hospital, one of the present owners who had ability to speak, the mother, by leaving it there, ceremonially agreed to the livery of Cisen?
And pass it on to whoever
mm-hmm.
Ground. Okay, so the placenta falls to the ground. Whoever possesses that placenta becomes the clod of dirt.
Right, and did not the mother sign?
I don't know what Mom did.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that I'm only going to go with the placenta.
Yeah, okay.
Whoever possesses the placenta
mm-hmm.
as a clod of dirt
mm-hmm. well,
possesses the land.
Yeah, and it says right here, or delivery of possession.
So what did they do, though? The clod of dirt became a key, it was a twig, and eventually became a piece of paper, a deed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the deed now represents the clod of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
The clod of dirt is the placenta,
mm-hmm.
at least in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever puts the clod of dirt, they put the clod of dirt on deposit as the principal.
Mm-hmm.
In God we trust. As the res, the object or thing. Now the problem is that clod of dirt, that placenta, evidences both your godly origin and the origin of the species.
Mm-hmm.
the zygote, the zygotic material.
Mm-hmm.
It evidences that.
Mm-hmm.
So it evidences both God and man.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody has it on deposit, and they created a piece of paper, a deed, a birth certificate for that clod of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whoever created the paper owns the paper version. I mean, you can't... I don't care about the representative aspect or the ceremonious or ceremonial. I'm still using that biology. So there cannot be a paper representative of me. The only way the birth certificate evidences a transfer is if you're talking about the combination of biologies.
Yes.
The birth certificate is a transfer of property for a fetal-maternal tertium quid.
Yeah.
It is not a transfer of me.
No.
The problem is my biology is a subset
Yes.
of the placenta, so they can, whatever happens in the name of that character, I become the surety, the living surety
Yeah.
for their piece of paper.
Yeah. It's crazy.
If I believe that's my birthday,
Yeah.
if I believe in Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
I end up being the surety, the body, for their character, for their empty suit.
Yeah.
They put me into their suit.
Yeah, you get to fill it.
I get to fill their suit.
Yeah.
Their suit.
Mm-hmm.
Their fig leaf.
Yeah.
And that's... So I suffer.
Yeah.
I become the martyr in their story.
Yeah.
I suffer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that the material that was cut to make their suit was custom cut to make their suit is a combination of mom and baby
Yeah.
biologies. Now, but I have a cure to that. I'm not holding back. I'm building up.
Right. Because you're still following the original ejectment.
I'm still going with what's obvious to the world.
Yeah.
The placenta comes out as it's not separate, but once it's cut off from me, a war begins over that particular end.
Mm-hmm.
Because that placenta has my biology and mom's biology, or mom's estate. But I'm going to prove in this call that I win.
Mm-hmm.
Very simply.
And I had to look up the word surety. I mean, I know I've heard it 100 times, but one of the meanings is one who makes himself responsible for another. And it's from the 15th century. And by claiming the birthday, we make ourselves responsible for the public.
To the public.
Yeah. And that's
of the world. That's of the world rather than in the world.
Yeah. So we become and thereby becoming guilty because we're part of the public now. We become guilty of all the crimes. Because
there's one public John Doe,
right?
And if a guy in California commits a crime, because his DNA is in the public pool, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
If I allow my biology to be considered common and in the public pool, then I'm just as guilty of that crime because it's one person committing all the crimes.
Yeah.
One legal fiction. One John Doe commits all the crimes.
Yeah. Wow.
It doesn't matter how many are actually committing the crime. It only takes one. But if one person whose biology is in the public commits a crime, then every other participant. This is equity, by the way. This is for those that want to participate in equity.
Wow.
Because equity is a share.
Yep.
So if I have a share of the public and somebody in the public commits a crime, I have a share of the crime.
Yep.
That's equity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want equity with my biology. I don't want my biology involved in anybody else's business or equities.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. If I have one goal, it is to eliminate my participation biologically in the public, in that particular public.
Yeah, equity is that which is equally right or just to all concerned. The uniform relation of one thing to others.
Uniform. There's your UCC right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a uniform relation, a UCC relation.
Yeah.
A uniform commercial code.
Yeah. Well.
It's commerce.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna keep going with ejectment real quick.
Okay.
Off my clod of dirt document.
Okay.
It says everyone in Old England was tied to the land. Tied to the land.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you picture me sitting at the dining room table here, recorded to the placenta? I'm tied to it. If you reconnect me to the infant placenta, you have recorded me. It's a record.
Yeah, you're tied to that.
Well, people, what I'm trying to get at is the word record and record are the same.
Yes. Yeah.
By having a record, you have recorded me or tied me to the placenta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So wherever the placenta is located, whatever depository it's located in, I'm tied to it.
Yeah.
By record.
Yeah.
And by my own claim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, happy birthday, Kurt. Yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So now I tie myself to that placental third person tertium quid.
Yeah.
So whatever business that tertium quid gets involved in, whatever contracts that birth certificated tertium quid's involved in, I become the surety.
Yeah.
I have to suffer for that business.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say commerce.
Yeah.
So it says everyone in Old England was tied to the land. The feudal land, Feudal, the feudal land tenement system determined social, economic, political, and legal rights.
Mm-hmm.
The stability of the system was founded on the security of each person's right to possess or own a parcel of land. For this reason, the first kinds of lawsuits were those allowing the assertion of rights in land. Think about it. My cow's on my land.
Mm-hmm.
My family's on my land.
Mm-hmm.
That's my castle. That's why the castle doctrine exists.
Right.
That this is my property.
Yeah.
It says by the end of the 13th century, the action of trespass was allowed against one who intruded on property possessed by the plaintiff. Again, the plaintiff, possessed by the plaintiff. Look at that. The action of trespass was allowed against one who intruded on property possessed by the plaintiff. So I'm the plaintiff.
Mm-hmm.
I possess this stuff, and you come onto my property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm the baby, umbilical, and extra-embryonic. That's my estate.
Yes.
You take a sharp object, and you cut my umbilical cord.
Mm-hmm.
You have just trespassed
Yes.
upon my biological kingdom.
Yes.
I become the plaintiff.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens, I'm going off on a tangent here, what happens if I forget about that godly origin?
Then whoever possesses it controls it.
Well, what if they were pretending to protect me from my own ignorance?
Okay.
They put it on deposit, and they're saying that they're protecting the godly position. They're acting as,
And
they're acting on behalf of God.
Mm-hmm.
They're protecting my godly origin. I forgot about it. I've abandoned it. I've forsaken it.
Mm-hmm.
So they take it and go, hey, listen, this person, this heathen doesn't believe in God. We know that this is his godly origin. We're going to put it in trust. We're going to hold it in trust for him until he wakes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's protecting it from any other claim to it by any other entity too, right?
What they're doing is they're treating me like a child.
Yes.
Whoever has that property now basically controls everything about me because they put a title to it, and that title included my own father's name.
Yeah.
So I can't access my legitimacy to that property because that name is tied to a pretender.
Yeah. What's that song? Pretender?
Well, there it is. It's tied to a imposter.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't get to my own inheritance because I have to fight with somebody over who owns that property. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the war. But then it goes to arbitration, which are these lower courts, and they collect an administrative fee.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, there is no argument because it's obvious. I am whole, and regardless of what they say they have on deposit, it's not true because I'm still using it. I'm still occupying it. I'm still possessing it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I'm breathing, I'm inspired. If I'm inspired, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians says the spiritual man shall be judged by no man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not in a position. I'm not in a judgeable position by others. I can't be judged by others as long as I'm breathing.
Yep.
And as long as I'm whole. If a piece of me is on deposit and it's viewed as a voluntary act, then I have become part of some community. Inadvertently, perhaps, but I have somehow found my way into this once upon a time community.
Yep.
This fiction.
Yep.
And I'm suffering because of it.
Yep.
Okay, so again it says, by the end of the 13th century, the action of trespass was allowed against one who intruded on property possessed by the plaintiff. Now, think about that. If I can't prove I have a legitimate right to be on this land, on the land, then somebody can bring a cause of action against me. Just it's called a question of law. They can bring a cause of action against me, forcing me to prove my right to be on that property.
Right.
But there's no way for us to prove it because they have that biology on deposit.
Right.
So we can't actually prove it.
Mm-hmm.
We can only prove an equity in the property. We cannot prove ownership. Mm-hmm. And that's the way the system is designed. Mm-hmm. It's designed as equity is the winner. Mm-hmm. But the reality is when you're Go ahead.
Well, but that's the systems game.
Right.
Yeah.
The best I can do is a share.
Mm-hmm.
But then that would put somebody in a fiduciary capacity, and of course, if they're not doing their job, that would be a breach of trust.
Yeah.
But that's a different call too.
Right.
But the point is it says a property who intruded on property possessed by the plaintiff. Mm-hmm. Again, if my biology falls to the ground of Winnebago County, and it lays there and is presumed a clod of dirt transfer, I'm transferring this property now to the Winnebago County. Mm-hmm. The county has a claim.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm doing, whatever I produce, the county has a claim upon it.
Mm-hmm.
So does the state of Illinois. Mm-hmm. So does the United States. So does the North America. Mm-hmm. If I leave that placenta as a separate new thing, a composition of matter, by the way, that's patentable, then whoever has possession of that is going to claim everything I produce. Mm-hmm. If everything I produce is claimed by another, do I own anything?
No.
Well, that's where we found ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's all communal property. Mm-hmm. The communists have already won.
Mm-hmm.
They've won.
Yep. You work for the greater good.
And what is greater good?
The public.
No, what is greater good? What is good?
Good is unborn of animals.
So the piece of you that has been cut off, the unborn version of you,
mm-hmm.
has entered into the greater.
Yeah.
It's become part of the public pool.
Yeah.
And that's the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
It is your personal sacrifice.
Yeah.
The greater good is your martyrdom. You have to martyr. You have to become a martyr to become part of the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to martyr, by the way.
Okay.
I'm just going to go to Webster's.
Okay.
Martyr. M-A-R-T-Y-R? Yeah. M-A-R-T-Y-R.
Yep.
A person who voluntarily suffers death as the penalty of witnessing to and refusing to renounce a religion. Well, there it is.
Wow.
Jesus, I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I am is what? Presence?
Yep.
You're present?
Mm-hmm.
So when you accept Jesus, you accept the what? The sacrifice of the present.
Yes.
Whose presence?
Mine.
Your own.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what's on deposit.
Mm-hmm.
So then you enter eternal life, also known as death, which is his story or history.
Mm-hmm.
Once you are no longer present, you enter his story, history.
Yeah.
By the way, we already know that kind of a contract is considered what?
Decedent?
An impossible contract.
Oh, yes, right. An impossible
You cannot perform that contract because it costs you your life.
Yes.
The cost is too high. It's cost prohibitive.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so the return on your investment is too great. It costs you your life.
Yeah, well, you can't even get a return on your investment if it cost you your life.
Sure, it's called a headstone.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, we gave you exactly what you asked for, Linda. You wanted eternal life, and we gave it to you.
Yeah.
It's in a cemetery. Hey, let's go visit Linda.
What a deal.
She was asking for eternal life, and they gave it to her.
Yeah, what a deal.
She's now located in a cemetery plot, which is a communal plot, which is also known as what? Anyway, in the movie, in the Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
What is that place called? What is that place?
The town?
What I'm thinking of is what is the place where Pottersville?
Yeah.
Right, but what's Potter's Field?
It's where unknown persons.
Paupers. It's where paupers with no money are buried.
Paupers and unknown people are buried.
That's what this is. This is one giant cemetery known as Paupers, or as Potter's Field.
Yeah.
They call it Pottersville, but it's really Potter's Field.
Yeah.
Where all the paupers that have no property, no ownership claims exist. Mm-hmm. That's where we found ourselves.
Yeah.
By us becoming the martyr, or allowing us, or by accepting this decedent birth certificated estate, we're not here. Mm-hmm. All our property goes into one community fund, and we're all martyrs. Mm-hmm. We all die as martyrs for some religion. Yeah. So that was number one, a person who voluntarily suffers death as a penalty of witnessing to or refusing to renounce religion. Mm-hmm. Number two says a person who sacrifices something of great value, and especially life itself, for the sake of principle. Three says victim, especially a great or constant sufferer. Martyr verb says to put to death for adhering to a belief, faith, or profession. And two says to inflict agonizing pain on, torture. Doesn't this life feel like torture?
Yep.
It is torture.
Yep.
It is torture, and at 18 U.S.C. 114, maiming within maritime and territorial jurisdiction. 18 U.S.C. 114.
Wow.
Are you going to it?
Just a second, I want to write it down.
18 U.S.C. 114, maiming within maritime and territorial jurisdiction. Go to it. Probably, it'll be easy to find.
Yeah.
Tell me when you
Cornell law. Okay, I'm there.
Whoever within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States and with intent to torture, as defined in Section 2340, maim or disfigure, cuts, bites, or slits the nose, ear, or lip, or cuts out or disables the tongue, or puts out or destroys an eye, or cuts off or disables a limb.
Or any member.
Or any member of another person, or whoever within special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States and with intent throws or pours upon another person any scalding water, corrosive acid, or caustic substance shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. By the way, that was June 25th, 1948. It's 62 Stat 869.
Wow.
It's a public law. Mm-hmm. It came out the same year.
Wow.
As the National Security Act, where the CIA was created.
Crazy.
Christ in action, CIA.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever cuts off or disables a limb or any member. Does that sound like the cutting of the umbilical?
Yep.
There it is right there. The United States is trying to protect us. And yet, all the patriots out there think the United States is the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Anyway, so everybody's become a martyr.
Mm-hmm.
By the cutting of the cord and accepting that religious position, they're all martyrs.
Yes.
And then their bodies are buried in Potter's Field as paupers.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's walking around as a ghost.
Yeah.
That's the spirit. Hey, that's the spirit, Linda. Keep it up. So the United States is not the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to be the only one that believes that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's happened is religion has made reality the enemy.
Yes. It was a great dupe. It was brilliant, really. And then they made, and then martyr, where was it here? Was a person who voluntarily suffers death as penalty of witnessing to and refusing to renounce a religion.
Right.
It's just so brilliant.
And all they do is they get you to agree that it's acceptable to kill someone.
Yes.
They get you to agree that it's acceptable that somebody dies.
Yep. For you. For the public.
For the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
And when you accept that, then it's okay that somebody dies.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it's you.
Right.
Your presence, your I amness, is what is being sacrificed. And then you get put into the historical record.
Yes.
And again, the past and the present are mutually exclusive. You can't be both. You can't be in both.
Yep.
So if I am, then I cannot be I was.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Again, when somebody shows me a picture of me in 5th grade, that's just earlier today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's all one long, lifelong present.
That's right.
The spirit only exists in the present moment. So if you're devoid of spirit, then you can enter the past, because that's what it's called. It's called the passing or the past.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm inspired, filled with the breath of God, I'm present.
Yes.
So again, you can't be both. You can't be in the record, on the record, and be present.
Yes.
The record is death.
Yeah.
It evidences your sacrifice in a belief system.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the record is eternal life, which is death. Wow. Again, the tangents are as fun as anything else, I got to tell you. Now, I'm going to go back to Livery of Season. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to reread that because we're going to go back then to the Cloud of Dirt document.
Okay.
Livery of Season is an archaic legal conveyancing ceremony formerly practiced in feudal England and in other countries following English common law, used to convey holdings in property. The term livery is closely related to, if not synonymous with, delivery, used in some jurisdictions in contract law or the related law of deeds. Wow. So we go into a hospital, into a delivery room, right?
Yeah.
To be delivered from evil.
Right.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen Ra. Delivery. Let's go to Webster's delivery.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the medical definition. First of all, delivery says an act or manner of delivering something. Also, something delivered. That's delivery. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go to the medical definition because some people still don't know what that means and why it's important to learn it. Medical definition says the act of giving birth, but it also goes on to say the expulsion or extraction of a fetus and its membranes. So a fetus and its membranes is a delivery. Mm-hmm. What happens when the fetus crosses the threshold and comes out into the world and becomes baby, but then they cut off the membranes? Have you been delivered?
No.
No, so it's an abortion. It's a partial birth abortion. It's a failed or incomplete delivery.
Yeah.
So when they say, and deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, what they're saying is that because we've been partially delivered, the rest of us needs to be delivered. Mm. And how do they do that? They do it through the representative birth certificated person. Mm-hmm. So they're saying that they're delivering us through the post office.
Yep.
Post office.
Yep.
They deliver the rest, residue, and remainder of our biology through the birth certificate. Mm-hmm. That's the delivered. Yep. But then now there's a middleman.
Yep.
The problem is the middleman's not required.
No.
Because when I came out whole and was breathing on my own, I've always been the occupant, by the way.
Right.
I've occupied this biology. I'm the only occupant ever. Mm-hmm. I'm the only possessor ever.
Yeah, it's in reality impossible for anyone else to possess that.
So how is it that we become possessed by another?
Through agreement.
Through our own admission.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When we agree to the birthday and we allow that placenta to become the clod of dirt in somebody else's claim, mm-hmm. we are now possessed by the owner of the land where that material fell.
Yes.
If it falls to the hospital has a claim. If it falls to the county has a claim. If it falls to the state of Illinois has a claim. If it falls to North America, the Roman Catholics have a claim. That becomes the clod of dirt.
Yes.
That gives rise to the piece of paper known as birth certificate, and everybody's fighting over that clod of dirt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm going to end the war right now. I mean today.
Cool.
But I'm going to have some fun between now and then.
So admit is, in Marian, to allow scope for, to concede as true or valid, to allow entry to a place, a fellowship, or a privilege, to accept into a hospital as an inpatient, to give entrance or access, and then I'm going to click on permit, to consent to expressly or formally, to give leave, authorize. So every time we admit and write a signature with the birthday or write the birthday, we are authorizing and giving permission. And that gives us entry into their world of fiction through their rules.
Go down to admit noun. Tell me what it says.
A written warrant or license granted by one having authority. Yep.
Where are you at?
Permit noun, 1 of 3. Oh, did I miss one? What's
Verb.
yours?
Oh, you're at permit. You're at permit. I'm sorry. I'm back at admit.
Oh, okay. I can go to admit now. Noun. A person who is admitted into a school or hospital, etc.
You missed part of it. Right above that, what does it say?
To make acknowledgement?
No, the definition of admit, entry 2 of 2. What's right below that?
Allow, permit?
U.S.
Oh, U.S. I sure missed that. Oh, my goodness.
So in the U.S., it's a person who is admitted into a school, a hospital, etc. A hospital.
Wow.
I'm telling you right now that the hospital, that placenta remains a patient that needs to be made whole forever.
Yeah.
And the prescription is the rest of you.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to go to a Facebook post I put up yesterday because it's too easy in this one line. It's too easy. Okay, there's me. Let me go down to it. I wrote one line here yesterday. There it is. One's own second coming afterbirth becomes a forensic prescription for one's own administrative redemption.
Yes.
Let me say that again. One's own second coming afterbirth. In other words, the umbilical cord is attached to the placenta, which is known as the afterbirth. Second coming. So I come out of mom first. The second coming is the afterbirth. Where do you hear the word second coming?
In religion.
In religion.
Christianity.
In Christianity especially. So one's own second coming. Is it not attached to my biology? So it's not something separate. You can't even, I'm using second coming in quotes because it's really just part of the whole.
Yeah.
But when they clamp and cut it, it becomes a second coming. It's actually just the rest of me.
Yeah.
It's not a second coming. It's the rest of me. It should have all been delivered as the fetus and the extraembryonic membranes as one unit.
Yeah.
Instead, they divide the estate so that we can go to war over it.
Yeah.
Then when they clamp and cut the cord, they set the placenta separately, and they set it aside so that we can fight Rome over our own biology. That's what they've done.
Yeah.
That's the agreement, I'm certain, between the United States and Rome. I'll call it the Americas, which is subject to inter cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So they get us to go one way or the other. Either we're Christians and we're the infant, the lifetime infant, subject to guardianship, or we're the heathen on the land, subject that requires us bending a knee to Rome to convert to Christianity.
Yeah.
One is salvage operation. The vessel that we arrived in is subject to salvage, or salvation subject to the church.
Yep.
When in fact, it's all one biology. Both of those positions, salvage and salvation, are fraud.
Yeah.
Because we're already whole.
Yeah.
That's the difference between knowing God, knowledge, and having faith in man's word.
Yeah.
When I hear the word, when somebody tells me about the word, fuck the word.
Yeah.
I don't need the word because I am.
Yeah.
I am in spite of the word.
Yeah.
I exist in spite of the word. Every book on the planet can burn, and I'll still be here.
Yep.
I don't require anything on paper to exist.
Nope.
And that's the point. All the flat earthers out there that want the XY axis existence, they can Bob Seger their asses. Turn the page. Because they're in a book.
Yeah.
They're subjecting themselves to a book. By the way, it's called the Domesday Book.
Mm-hmm.
And the Domesday Book, let's look it up.
Yep.
You actually started the conversation with the idea of land versus what? Production.
Mm-hmm.
The Domesday Book is about production.
Yes.
And it's pronounced Domesday, but I think it's written Doomsday.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Doomsday Book. Doomsday Book, Wikipedia. The Doomsday Book, the Middle English spelling of Doomsday, it's Domesday. It looks like Domesday, but it's the Middle English spelling of Doomsday Book, is a manuscript record of the Great Survey.
Yep.
Of much of the England and parts of Wales, completed in 1086 by order of King William I, known as William the Conqueror. Mm-hmm. The manuscript was originally known by the Latin name Liber de Wittonia, meaning Book of Winchester, where it was originally kept in the royal treasury. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle states that in 1085 the king sent his agents to survey every shire in England to list his holdings and dues owed to him.
Mm-hmm.
Written in medieval Latin, it was highly abbreviated and included some vernacular native terms without Latin equivalents. The survey's main purpose was to record the annual value of every piece of landed property to its lord, and the resources in land, manpower, and livestock from which the value derived. The name Domesday Book came into use in the 12th century. It's so called because its decisions were unalterable, like those of the Last Judgment, and its sentence could not be quashed.
Wow.
It says the manuscript is held in the National Archives at KEW2Q, London. Domesday was first printed in full in 1783, and in 2011, the Open Domesday site made the manuscript available online. The book is an invaluable primary source for modern historians and historical economists. No survey approaching the scope and extent of Domesday Book was attempted again in Britain until 1873. Return of owners of land. Wow. Sometimes termed the modern Domesday, which presented the first complete post-Domesday picture for the distribution of landed property in the United Kingdom. This is huge.
Yeah. It says
everything I'm talking about is based upon where did this clod of dirt fall? Who possesses the clod of dirt known as the placenta? Because that is what identifies ownership or possession of land.
Yep.
And I'm talking biology as well here.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm just an inhabitant of the land, I'm not an owner.
No.
So when I see patriots want to use the word inhabitant, I'm just the man on the land. Oh, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I own the land, and I'm going to prove it right now.
Right.
So the Domesday Book, I mean, again, another tangent that is critically important to understand. And I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to reiterate my Facebook line post. One's own second coming after birth becomes a forensic prescription for one's own administrative redemption. They're using my own biology to redeem me.
Yeah.
Let's go to, I'm going to go get my Black's Law. I put it off as long as I could. I'm going to the word forensic. God, I love talking to you. I need it as bad as you do. Don't think I don't.
Oh, I love it.
I really need your input because you find stuff. Okay, forensic. Where am I here?
Should have it underlined.
Forensic. Page 583, Black's Law, 5th edition.
Okay, I'm there. Oh, there it is. I knew it was circled.
Forensic, Forensic, belonging to courts of justice. So the word forensic, belonging to courts of justice.
Mm-hmm.
Forensic medicine, I'm telling you right now, they're using a piece of you to make you whole.
Mm-hmm.
They call it redemption.
Yeah. Well, right there,
Go
it
ahead.
says belonging to the courts of justice. That doesn't say belonging to the owner.
Right, forensic, belonging to courts. So these are courts of justice.
Mm-hmm.
What is the DOJ in the United States?
The Department of Justice.
The Department of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Department of Justice an Article 3 court system? Remember, you got 3 parts to the government, the constitutional government. Is the Department of Justice
No, it's part
of the Article 3 court system?
It's part of the executive branch.
It's part of the executive branch. It is not part of the actual court system, is it?
No.
So it's the executive office
Mm-hmm.
with its own Justice Department.
Yes.
Forensic is out of the executive branch.
Yeah.
The president himself.
Yep.
It goes on to say, forensic medicine, the science which teaches the application of every branch of medical knowledge to the purpose of the law. Hence, its limits are, on the one hand, the requirements of the law, and on the other, the whole range of medicine. Anatomy, physiology, medicine, surgery, chemistry, physics, and botany lend their aid as necessity arises. And in some cases, remember the case is the cover.
Right.
The case is what covered you in the womb.
Right.
And in some cases, all these branches of science are required to enable a court of law to arrive at a proper conclusion on a contested question affecting life or property. Life or property.
Mm-hmm.
This is forensic medicine for courts of justice within the Department of Justice in the executive branch. It has nothing to do with Article 3 courts.
No.
Forensic pathology, that branch of medicine dealing with diseases and disorders of the body in relation to legal principles and cases. Dis-ease and disorder is the birthday out of order.
Yes.
Right, it's not your origin, is it?
No.
So the executive branch, the president himself, also known as a celebrant of the Eucharist,
I was just reading that in my book.
by definition,
Yes.
is trying to put Humpty-Dumpty back together again.
Mm-hmm.
Through the Department of Justice.
Mm-hmm. Because it's been cut, so there's disease and disorder.
I believe that the executive branch of the United States has a treaty with Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And they're allowing the placenta to remain in trust. And whoever wins, whatever we decide, if we decide for Admiralty law, the Admiralty part gets to raid the Ark.
Mm-hmm.
If the church side wins and we bend a knee to Jesus, the church gets to raid the Ark. We decide where our money goes.
Wow.
You see it in the political system as the left and the right.
Mm-hmm.
The right is the Jesus side. The conservatives would be the Jesus side.
Right.
And remember that Rome itself is pagan.
Mm-hmm.
So the liberal side would be the church.
Mm.
So the state side is represented by Admiralty law and conservatives. And the church side is the liberals on the other side. But if you choose either, you are admitting to the cut.
And you're fucked.
And you're literally fucked.
Well, and I think if you told liberals that they were the church, it would just make them crazy.
Well, I had a friend years ago whose mom went through seminary.
Mm-hmm.
She was like going to be a nun
mm-hmm.
until she discovered sex.
Mm-hmm.
But she actually told her son later in life that the Catholics are communists.
Mm-hmm.
Catholicism is communism.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So, and this is right from somebody that went to seminary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so liberalism and community property and all that stuff is communist.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, and since the birth certificate was created in 1933, it's all been the common good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas those of us that understand it's okay to help people, but on your own terms.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie and I have helped a lot of people over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that requires us to have money to give.
Mm-hmm.
And when they take it all from you through the community IRS, through the Roman Catholic IRS, which is located in, it has its source in Puerto Rico,
mm-hmm.
which is subject to canon law,
mm-hmm.
which is Roman Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
When you realize that the IRS is acting on behalf of communism and
yep.
community property claims, then you realize what a mess we're in.
Well, and the Archbishop, what was his name? It was the legal part of the Archdiocese of Denver, who I had a personal conversation with. When we were talking about law, he said, well, you know, all civil law comes from canon law.
Which is, by the way, the civil calendar is the birth certificated character.
And who created it? A pope.
A pope.
Yeah, exactly.
So that historical record, that historical timeline, that
mm-hmm.
record,
mm-hmm.
is mutually exclusive to the present reality.
Mm-hmm.
You have to die. You have to die to enter the record.
Yep.
You have to die to enter the record.
Yep.
And that's a sacrifice to me that's too great. To me, it's an impossible contract to perform.
Absolutely. So in this book that I'm reading, he talks about the Domesday Book.
He does.
Yeah.
Well, there again, we're right back to that serendipity.
I know. He says the Conquer instituted the survey in 1060, and he said his commissioners noted the mentions of estates in units like vergets and hides, which varied according to the richness of the soil. A verget was enough land for a single person to live on. A hide was enough to support a family, and consequently the size shrank when measuring fertile land and expanded in poor upland territory. It says that other Domesday units like acre and carucate were equally flexible, but so long as the land was held in exchange for services, the number of people it could feed and so make available to render those services was more important than its exact area. Accurate measurement became important in 1538 because beginning in that year, a gigantic swath of England, almost 500,000 acres, was suddenly put up for sale. It was the greatest real estate sale in England's history. Occurred after King Henry VIII dissolved a total of almost 800 monasteries, which had been acquiring land for centuries. Anyway.
Well, that's important. It's important that he dissolved monasteries.
Yeah. In
other words, church lands.
Yeah. He justified his action on the grounds that these houses of power had grown depraved and corrupt, but tales of drunken monks and lecherous nuns served to conceal a more mundane purpose. Henry needed money to pay for England's defenses. Upon the monastery's dissolution, all their land, including some of the best soil in England, automatically reverted to their feudal overlord, the king. These rich acres were then sold to wealthy merchants and noblemen so that a navy could be built to defend England's shore against France.
Huh. There's a lot of words in there that raised my eyebrows.
Yeah. Well, it goes on to talk about the dispossessing people on the land once it was made into a commodity for money.
Right. I mean, people don't understand that allodium or allodial is the soil under the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people think that when they buy this house, they're buying the land under it.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not.
Nope.
So, I mean, the house that I'm in right now gets taxed. They call it a property tax.
Mm-hmm.
The land under the house is getting taxed.
Well, it's interesting. In my family farm, my father has a chain of title from the original treaty land grant to his property, to what was his property at the time. And it was, the county wanted that book, and he wouldn't give it to them. So, when you would go look on Wikipedia, or not Wikipedia, one of the real estate exchanges before my mother's death, it always just had, it never had the property listed, it only had the buildings. After her death, it was put in a trust, and now the property is included on the description as well as the buildings on the land.
And that's what people don't realize, is that the house
mm-hmm.
and the land are, to this day, that's why they can tax the house, because the house is appurtenant
mm-hmm.
to the land.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the land. It's an immovable on the land.
Yep.
Let's look up appurtenance real quick.
Okay.
A-P-P-U-R. Appurtenant.
So, I just wanted to read this other one. In this one book, it says, once the land was exchanged for cash, its ability to support people became less important than how much rent it could produce. So it became, instead of production, it became about money.
It became a unit.
Yes.
A plot.
Yes.
By the way, it's a communist plot.
Yes. And it had to be measured.
Yeah, and that's what they did. They found a way through our own ignorance,
mm-hmm.
Be it birthday or otherwise. They found a way to capture all of it.
Yeah.
Through our own admission.
Yes.
And that admission, to admit to something, we are actually admitting an omission.
Mm-hmm.
We're omitting something through our admission. we admit to a birthday which omits our godly origin. Think about that. We admit ourselves to the hospital by omitting the 280 days in the womb.
Yes.
We're actually broken the moment we admit the birthday, and now we enter by our own admission to the hospital, U.S., we are now in the hospital because of the birthday, because of an omission of our godly origin, our 280 days in the womb.
Yes.
They put us back together. That they call it redemption. Mm-hmm. We're redeeming our 280 days in the womb and being made whole again, only to be recaptured through our admission to a birthday again. Mm-hmm. Every time we admit to the birthday, it's omitting the first 280 days of our existence.
Yes.
Now we're broken and need to be fixed. Mm-hmm. They take what's on deposit, the rest of us, and they put us back together. They give us life again. We go home alive only to be recaptured by another omission of admission.
I'm sorry, I just have this thing in my cartoon in my head. It's like the Road Runner. Splat! Oh, put it back together again. Splat! Put it back together again. Splat!
What's really funny in the Roadrunner is that the coyote, there is one episode where he's back there conniving, and he says, "Wile E. Coyote, super genius." What's really funny is Wile E. Coyote, the E has a period. I mean, it's actually the attorney.
Wow.
You know what I mean? The Wile E. Coyote is actually using the name or the title, the organizational title. Anyway, appurtenance. So my house, the house of Kallenbach,
spell it for me.
It is on some land.
Yeah, spell it for me. I can't spell it today.
APPURTENANCE. Appurtenance.
Okay, there it is. I didn't get the two P's in. That's what was the problem.
It says appurtenance is plural, is accessory objects. Number 2 says law. An incidental right, such as a right-of-way, attached to a principal property right and passing in possession with it. This is huge, by the way. Wait until I describe it. I'm going to leave appurtenance up because we're going to have to come back to this. 3, a subordinate part or adjunct. An incidental right, such as a right-of-way, attached to a principal property right and passing in possession to it.
An incidental right.
Think of it as a right-of-way. Mm-hmm. All right? So I'm landlocked. Mm-hmm. My piece of property is in the middle of something. And in order for me to get out there into the public, I have to cross over somebody else's land.
Yeah.
In order for me to get to the public, I have to cross somebody else's land.
Yeah.
That's a right-of-way. Mm-hmm. What happens if I don't get the right-of-way?
I can't get to my property.
I'm stuck on my own land. Mm-hmm. So that's what a right-of-way is, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about an easement of sorts, where we're stuck in our own place. We're stuck on an island.
Ah, the insular territory.
We're stuck in an insular possession, right, or an island, and we can't get back to reality. Mm-hmm. We don't have the right-of-way unless we pay the toll to cross, to go across, a cross, CROSS.
Wow.
Unless we pay the toll to cross. There is a biblical phrase or a biblical verse, Matthew 7:14. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. The umbilical cord is what Matthew 7:14 is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The way, W-A-Y, is the right of way between the unborn and born worlds. When they clamp and cut the cord, they take away our way.
Mm-hmm.
We need to then go through whoever possesses that umbilical cord and placenta.
Mm-hmm.
We have to pay the toll.
Yeah.
They have our only way to life.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The umbilical cord is the way, W-A-Y, in Matthew 7:1-4. And when they clamp and cut the cord, they take it away.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, they even in Congress, they call it the ways and means.
Yep, that's right.
Because the means to an end.
Yes.
The way is narrow. It's the umbilical cord. And the means to that end, the means to freedom, the means to life, the means to the present is the umbilical cord.
Mm-hmm.
The means to an end. So we're on the island. The umbilical cord is the bridge or the way, and we have lost our way.
Mm-hmm.
We have literally lost our way.
Yes,
the umbilical cord.
Yeah.
So we're stuck inside the womb. We're stuck inside of her. We can't come out of her because we've lost our way.
Yes, it's been cut off.
It's been cut off of us.
Yeah.
So by claiming Christianity, we're stuck inside.
Yes.
By being the man on the land, we're the heathen subject to conversion.
Yeah. Wow.
Either way, heads they win, tails I lose.
You're fucked.
And then that's when you're a motherfucker.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
You are stuck on the implantation.
Yes. Wow. That was
I know.
That was a good one.
And by the way, this is going to get really good if it hasn't already. Are you ready?
Yep.
So, my house, the house of Kallenbach, becomes a pertinent.
Okay.
It becomes an appurtenant house. The house is on the land. But whoever owns the land can tax me.
Mm-hmm.
They can tax my house.
Mm-hmm.
They can, indirectly, by owning the land and taxing the land, property tax, real estate tax, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
what they're able to do is able to tax my house.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to say, where is the house of Kallenbach located? It's located on some land. If the placenta's in play, and I'm claiming the birthday, then I'm stuck on the island.
Yeah.
My house is on the island.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about that. My biology, my fetal biology, which has a title, Kurtis Richard Kallenbach, is tied to the placenta.
So the house of Kallenbach is tied to the placenta.
The house of Kallenbach is tied to the ground, the land of my mom.
Uh-huh.
My biological individual house, Kallenbach.
Mm-hmm.
If I claim the birth certificated placental character, then my house is on that plot.
Yes. I got it. Okay.
So you got to think of that as an island with my house on it.
Okay.
And I can't get back to the present. I can't get back to reality. Because I have no way to get there. I have no means. I have no way. I have no easement. I have no right of way to cross that space.
Mm-hmm.
The interstate space.
Mm-hmm.
So from there to here now, I can't get there without somebody's
Assistance.
assistance, an easement. So whoever controls the umbilical cord controls the way. Think about that.
Wow.
The placenta is an island. It's an insular possession, but it's an island. Let's just call it an island. And from that cut off piece of me to where I'm located today, there's a space that requires an easement for me to get from there to here. That easement, that way was the umbilical cord. But if I'm cut off from it, I can't get from there to here.
Right.
Or from here to there. I can't get back to God without that connection. And I can't get off the island to here in the present without that connection.
Wow.
So whoever controls the cut, that's the space, they can demand a toll. A toll. It could be called a toll, A-T-O-L-L, or it could be called a space toll.
Yep.
I'm gonna do something here. I had Livery of Season still up.
So an atoll is a coral island consisting of a reef surrounding a lagoon.
Wow, that sounds just like the ending of Trading Places. Where you see the boat, the vessel, the ark, with its cord, with its mooring line going down beneath the surface of the water, connecting to the continental shelf of that island. You have a man standing in a vest, a red, white, and blue vest on a vessel, on a boat, raising his glass to an indigenous person on an island. And they're connected by the mooring line, the umbilical cord.
Yep.
So when they're W-H-O-L-E, when they're acting as one, they win. When they're separate and at odds, they lose.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. So I'm going to try to tie all this together, because it will probably take me a few minutes. And this is the best part. We've been talking about a deed, a paper deed.
Yes.
That evidences the need of the deed. The placenta itself is a clod of dirt that transfer possession of land. The clod of dirt can go either way. It either transfers the possession of my house or my land, my biology, or it transfers possession of Mom's. Remember that it's a feto-maternal piece of ground.
Yeah.
So if they're holding it on their end, if the church is holding it on their end, if the state is holding it on their end, they're acting as a arbiter.
Yes.
Let's be clear. It's a feto-maternal organ. Feto means me. It's my biology. It's fetal, F-E-T-A-L. Fetal, but it's a feto-maternal organ, F-E-T-O hyphen. Feto and fetal are the same. So it's my biology.
Yeah.
It's also a hyphen maternal organ, which means Mom's biology.
Yes.
So the two that would be arguing over it, realistically, the only two that have any legitimate claim is me or Mom. Or actually both of us to our own biology.
Right.
If you remove it if you negate the concept of a singular organ and you allow both pieces of biology to go back to baby and mom, then the tertium quid does not exist, which is my position.
Right.
But if you allow the placenta to become a tertium quid, then it becomes a clod of dirt transfer. So whoever has possession of that placenta has a claim upon both of those biologies. Both.
Yes.
The land, the motherland, and the fetal vessel, the fetal ship. You got to think of it as my biology on mom's land is my boat beached on mom's island.
Right.
My vessel, the outside covering of me in the womb, is the ark. And that ark is beached on mom's land. I picture it as a sailing ship run aground. That's how I picture it.
Yeah.
And that placenta evidences a beached vessel. And so that's how I picture the placenta. It has my vessel beached on mom's biology. That's implantation. So the concept, the conception of my vessel beached on mom's biology, that conception is called the placenta.
Yes.
That's what has the birthday. It's the original birthday cake. Okay, now that that's all laid out, and we understand what a clod of dirt is, it is a ceremonial passing, a ceremonial transfer of possession of land.
And that actually happens in the hospital.
It actually happens when we claim the birthday.
Yeah.
When we claim the birthday, we're allowing that clod of dirt to become exactly that. A transfer of land.
Yeah.
Or a transfer of our boat.
Yes.
Whatever, we're allowing that possession, whoever now possesses that, to make a possessory claim upon both the vessel, the beached boat, and the motherland itself.
So by knowing we're whole, it frees up both the boat and the land, doesn't it? Does it?
Okay, ready?
Yep.
I'm about to do it. All right, we're going back to the earliest moments. Dad's 23 chromosomes, mom's 23 chromosomes. Dad's as sperm, mom's as ovum. And they what? In order for me to exist, they do what? They drop off building materials at a job site. Now here's the beauty. I'm waiting for this siren to go past.
I thought it was silence for emphasis.
I rarely remain silent, but I would actually. Okay. Oh, it's a ambulance. All right. This is the best part. So the placenta could be looked at as a clod of dirt, as a tertium quid. And if it's taken as a new thing, a new third thing, a new third person, it could be that. We know that it's not. If I get in front of the cut, if I know my origin is fertilization, then that clod of dirt cannot exist.
Right.
So possession, regardless of who possesses that decedent material, it becomes irrelevant.
Yes.
Because I'm about to tell you what really happened. I know. The anticipation must be phenomenal by now.
I've been waiting how long?
2 hours. More than 2 hours.
2 hours.
Okay, so here we go. Dad's 23 chromosome sperm, mom's 23 chromosome ovum. And it's right here. It's right here. When dad's... First of all, the ovum. The ovum has already a membrane surrounding it.
Yes.
Called what?
I don't know.
The pellucid.
Is it the
pellucid membrane?
It is pellucid when it's the ovum too?
It's the pellucid membrane which surrounds the ovum.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
It's already there. It's there at mom's creation.
Oh, cool.
It is the matrilineal
lineage
lineage.
Wow.
It's mom to mom to mom to mom to mom to mom to
Yep.
mom, all the way back.
Yep.
It's Lucy.
Yep.
So it's evidence of the original female
Yes.
because it only passes between females.
Yes.
And I don't get it from the sperm. I only get it from my mom.
Yes.
So here's what's interesting. The matrilineal aspect, we're going to call it a dowry, is the pellucid membrane.
Yes.
Now, the pellucid membrane's around the ovum. So it's part of mom's 20. It's part of mom's 23. It's part of mom. It exists around the ovum, and mom's had that ovum since the beginning.
Yes.
Dad's sperm penetrates the ovum and fertilizes the ovum. The ovum changes into what's known as a singularity or the singular zygote. The zygote retains the pellucid membrane for about 5 days. Trick question. The zygote is a product, is a 46 chromosome entity produced by the fertilization process. Did the pellucid membrane get produced by the fertilization process?
No, it already existed.
So it is a virgin. It's the Virgin Mary.
OMG.
So the pellucid membrane was given directly to me without any circuity. It didn't. Dad has nothing to do with the creation of the pellucid membrane, does he?
No, not at all.
It is a true dowry.
Yeah.
Directly from mom to me.
Yeah.
Dad had nothing to do with its creation, so it's not involved in coitus. It's not involved in sex. It actually is a virgin territory.
Wow.
And mom gave it directly to me. It's a dowry from mom to baby.
Wow.
And I retained that for about 5 days prior to implantation.
Right.
What I'm getting at is that transfer from mom to me directly through the pellucid membrane is also a clot of dirt.
Right.
See, I got goosebumps.
Wow.
She gave me her land, the land that my vessel is landing on.
Wow.
She gave me not title. She gave me ownership through the pellucid membrane.
Wow.
I'm the owner. It doesn't require paper. Biologically, she gave that to me through the pellucid membrane.
Wow.
There is no middleman.
Wow.
She gave me that piece of ground. She transferred me, or her to me.
Wow.
Directly.
Wow.
She gave me that membrane as a clod of dirt saying, here, this I give to you. Now I have the legitimacy to land in her womb.
Wow.
So I'm not there as a trespasser. I am the owner of that piece of ground.
Wow.
You see what's happening?
Yeah, she gave it. Yeah. Wow.
She gave it directly to me through the pellucid membrane.
Wow.
That's the original clod of dirt.
Wow.
So who owns the placenta?
You do. I do.
I do. Outright.
Yeah.
I used to be confused about the true ownership of the maternal aspect of the cake.
Right.
I'm not confused now. Mom gave me ownership with the pellucid membrane.
Wow.
Total livery of season.
Wow.
I own it.
Yeah.
And so their artifice, their afterbirth, their second coming Jesus and Mary, I'm both.
Yeah.
I own that story.
Yeah.
Because I am that story.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Wow.
All the way down. Now I own the allodium under my boat. I own the allodium under my house.
Yeah.
When I put the house of Kallenbach on that soil, I had ownership already through the pellucid membrane. That transfer of that clot of dirt, pellucid membrane transference to me, gave me the right to everything underneath it.
Wow.
Which is the maternal part of the placenta. So everybody that's fighting over the placenta, I own it.
Yeah.
And because remember, Mom gave it to me, right?
Right.
And there's no doubt the biologically that the pellucid membrane is the transference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's really weird about this is that even as high as the UN level, they're using the placenta as a pacific measure.
Yeah.
Pacifist.
Mm-hmm.
If Mom gave it to me, is there a war?
No.
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 And there's no dispute as to who owns it.
Mm-mm.
Because Mom passed it on to me even before I planted into it. She gave me a pass.
Wow.
She said, before you even arrive at my land, I'm going to give you evidence of ownership.
So you already had the ticket.
I already had the ticket.
Uh-huh.
I already owned it.
Yep.
I did not arrive as an uninvited guest.
Wow. No.
I arrived invited directly, and when I arrived with my vessel, I already had a legitimacy to that allodium underneath my boat.
Wow. Underneath
my house.
Wow.
Is it taxable?
No.
Is anything taxable if I'm the owner?
No.
What I've just uncovered is the pellucid membrane is the clot of dirt transfer.
Wow.
When I landed into the wall of the uterus in my conceptus, I already had legitimacy to the motherland.
Yeah.
Dad had nothing to do with it.
Mm-mm.
Dad didn't create or participate in the creation of the pellucid membrane. He participated in the creation of the zygote. The zygote's original skin, the original membrane around the zygote for about 5 days, was from Mom directly.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Virgin Mary.
Wow.
See how cool this is?
Wow.
It's a virgin because it wasn't created through an act of coitus or an act of Congress. It was already in existence prior to that creation.
And it was in existence in the mother, in your
already.
mother when she was born, because
it is a matrilineal
mm-hmm.
Dowry.
Yeah.
Now, are you ready? Let's have some fun. This is that biology is the most critical thing I've ever discovered.
Wow.
Because it is the dowry. The pellucid membrane is the clot of dirt.
Wow.
And it is the dowry that evidences our legitimacy upon the land without having to go through any of this doomsday book shit. It's ours.
Yeah.
From Mom.
Wow.
Okay. The reason this is fun is because go to Downton Abbey, Downton Abbey Wikipedia.
Okay.
By the way, and on your way to Wikipedia, let me res sua nomini servant. No one can have a servitude over his own property. If Mom transferred that land directly to me, I own it.
Yeah. Res,
R-E-S, space, S-U-A, space, N-E-M-I-N-I, space, servant.
N-E-M-I-N-I. Okay, there it is.
No one can have a servitude over his own property.
Wow.
If I'm the actual owner, based upon the clot of dirt transfer pellucid membrane from Mom to me, do I have a servitude over that placenta?
Wow, this is really weird.
What's that?
In the dictionary it came up when I clicked on that. It says no one can have servitude, and it has his, and over his own OWN. Instead of a W, they have OVM property.
I know. I've seen that.
Wow. So it looks like ovum.
I know.
Almost.
I know. I've been there. I see it. It looks like over his ovum property.
Yeah.
That's not a mistake.
No.
That's an intentional
clue. Clue.
Yeah, it's a clue, but these guys are so brilliant at what they've done. By the way, I love this stuff, and I honestly would probably get along better with these guys that created this system, because I agree with them that knowledge, the knowledge itself, I want to be around people that actually have the ability to think.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would do anything for anybody to help them learn it, but I can't do it for them.
No.
And I'm telling you right now that the pellucid membrane is the ovum property.
Yes.
It is the dowry.
Yes.
And it says no one can have a servitude over his own property.
Yeah.
That means I'm not a servant. I'm not a public servant because my property is private.
Yeah.
I'm not a servant in any capacity. When I hear Bob Dylan say, "Well, you have to serve somebody," no, you don't. I don't have to serve anybody. On this land, on this property, in this system, no one. I am not the servant. I'm the owner. Now, go to Downton Abbey.
At Wiki, yep.
At Wiki. This is fun. This is a really fun part here. Because I watched all of Downton Abbey. Debbie and I love the character development. I love the story behind it.
Yeah, we've watched it probably twice.
We're going to probably watch it again.
We have, we do marathons of it.
We do. We're on our 100th run through on even Seinfeld. So. Oh,
yeah, we can't do too much right now because of lack of internet. But yeah. Wow.
Downton Abbey Series 1, 2010. The first series. I'm at the very first paragraph where it's explaining the series.
Okay, let me see. I don't think I'm at the same place you are. Downton Abbey.
Wikipedia. And I think it says...
List of episodes?
No, it's just Downton Abbey Wikipedia.
Okay, that's where I went.
Oh, you just keep going down.
Oh, okay.
Until you get to Series 1, 2010.
Oh, okay. Okay, it has to come back up again. For some reason, I guess I got too much open. I'm slowing down. Okay.
Ready?
Series 1. Okay.
What does it say? What's the first three words?
The first series.
Comma, right?
Comma.
Okay, here we go. Comprising 7 episodes. Explores the lives of the fictional Crawley family, the hereditary Earls of Grantham, and their domestic servants. The storyline centers on the fee tail, or entail, governing the title's elite, which endows title and estate exclusively to male heirs. As part of the backstory, the main character, Robert Crawley, Earl of Grantham, had resolved his father's past financial difficulties by marrying Cora Levinson, an American heiress. Her considerable dowry is now contractually incorporated into the committal entail in perpetuity. There it is. When my vessel lands on that dowry property, whatever debts they believe me to have for my boat
is contractually incorporated
into the wealth of the matrilineal dowry
in perpetuity.
Wow.
Forever. No wonder the church wants to hide this.
Yes, or anybody wants to, because this is the way they found around perpetuity.
Wow.
By the dowry, the pellucid membrane dowry from mom directly to me. That's the American woman.
Yeah.
And the value that is placed in that matrilineal mother to mother to mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have removed my the problem of title. My dad's, whatever debts my dad supposedly had, by being connected directly. And they know that this is the Holy Grail.
Wow.
The placenta itself is the Holy Grail. But so whoever controls the placenta
gets the Holy Grail.
Gets the Holy Grail. We're talking perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking forever.
Yep.
The problem is that you have the left and the right, the Republicans and Democrats. You have the war because of the cut. But the pellucid membrane transfer of dowry occurs so early in the womb. It occurs right at fertilization.
Wow.
Mom gave me this at fertilization. This is the ultimate gift.
Yeah.
It's a dowry, matrilineal dowry. It's giving me all the rights all the way back to the first mother.
Wow.
That's it. By the way, Mom does a couple things. She also gives me her mitochondrial DNA, which is what? Which is the aerobic aspect. It's the breath. So the mitochondrial from Mom, the mDNA, mitochondrial DNA, also is from Mother.
Wow.
So the very ability to produce energy through my mitochondria was given to me through Mom.
So,
total means of production.
Yeah, so everything you produce is actually through your mom because it's through the dowry, through the breath.
I mean, even though I don't exist without the sperm, the 23 chromosomes, I don't exist at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what's really interesting is that during COVID, what did they do? They were putting people on ventilators.
For breath.
For breath. Why? Because they were underwater.
Yeah.
On paper.
Wow.
So, and ventilation, Mom ventilates for us while we're in the womb.
Yes.
So they when you're split off, when you accept a birthday or whatever, you are now underwater. You are drowning.
Yes.
And require your vessel's underwater still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the Bible it says to come out of her, but if you claim that vessel, it's still in the waters of Mother.
Mm-hmm.
So you require ventilation.
Yes.
So they put people on physical ventilators, and they ordered millions of ventilators so they could bring money into whoever was pretending that this was all real.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you go stick with the biology, learn what it actually. Remember, they're only telling fictitious stories based upon biological truths.
Mm-hmm.
The dowry is the pellucid membrane.
Wow.
When Mom gave that to me, she gave me all rights, title, and interest to the placenta. There is no other owner. And by the way, because I own it, I cannot be a servant to it.
Mm-mm. Res suet namini servant.
There it is. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Kind of an important call.
Wow.
Let me go back to the my cloud of dirt document here, because there's some other stuff in here. Now remember that the actual transfer of ownership was the biology itself.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't require a piece of paper.
Mm-mm.
So if I have knowledge of the pellucid membrane, if I have knowledge that was given to me directly by Mom, if I can say that at the highest levels, then the placenta is mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I never wanted to say that before because I couldn't legitimize the statement.
Yeah.
But now I can. Because Mom granted me that ground, that soil, while I stayed there.
So it says, by it, the plaintiff might claim that he or she had been in the possession of a certain parcel of land, and that land had been taken by the defendant.
Right, but that parcel, that ground, Mom gave to me
Right.
by the transfer of the clod of dirt.
Right, so your claim is legitimate.
It is legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it ends all controversy.
Yeah, wow.
And every single court case happening in the world today is based upon that placenta.
Wow.
Because every birth certificated person is based upon that placenta.
Yeah.
So who has legitimacy to that character? Me.
Yeah.
I don't care who made it. If they want to try to argue with me over their piece of paper, that's fraud.
Right. Well, and it's also, what was that other one that you had up, that it was 20 years in prison?
Oh.
Ejectment? Is that where it was?
Yeah, 18 U.S.C. 114, maiming.
Yeah, 114.
Yeah.
Maiming. Well, because they maimed you in order to get possession of it.
Yeah, they cut me off from it physically.
Yeah.
And then they gave me a birthday so I would celebrate the birthday. So I tie myself by record to the property, but I haven't, I never legitimized the claim. I can't legitimize it because I don't know the science.
Right.
Let's go to expilatio.
Okay.
I know it sounds sexual, but it's not.
I never think of it that way.
I like to say it because people say, did he just say fellatio?
Oh.
See? I had to actually say it out loud. Expil. There it is. Expilatio is on page 519, Black's Law, 5th edition.
Okay, 519. All right.
Oh my! See, this is all part of what we've been talking about all day today. Anyway,
Here, I'm there.
it says in the civil law. Again, we're talking about the civil calendar character, the Gregorian birth certificated person, or the civil society. In the civil law, the offense of unlawfully appropriating goods, unborn of animals, belonging to a succession.
Wow.
I mean, realistically, I succeed my father. I'm the legitimate successor to the name Kallenbach.
Yes.
Kallenbach is industrial property. Industrial property is protected by the Lanham Act. So in other words, once I gain legitimacy over the placenta, I also have legitimacy to the name.
Yes.
So now the legal name is no longer a problem. Because I own it. It goes on to say, it is not technically theft, which is called furtum, F-U-R-T-U-M, because such property no longer belongs to the decedent nor to the heir. Since the latter, the heir, has not yet taken possession. In the common law, the grant of letters testamentary or letters of administration relates back to the time of the death of the testator or intestate, so that the property of the estate is vested in the executor or administrator from that period.
And that's the moment that the birthday.
All I'm saying is that we never take ownership because we keep claiming a birthday. When we know that the pellucid membranes, the dowry directly, it's the clod of dirt that evidences the dowry, the matrilineal dowry.
Wow.
We own the land under the house.
Wow.
And the land under the house then becomes the allodium, our allodium. And now we're in a completely untaxable position as full owners. It's not community property. It's not public property. It's 100%, it's a private estate. in perpetuity. It is the Holy Grail.
Wow.
The placenta is the Holy Grail because the Grail is a cup. And think about it. The cup that I was inside of, the blood of Christ, the cup that I was inside of is my own fetal membranes.
Yeah.
And that cup, what? It landed, that vessel, think of that vessel and cup as all one thing. It landed on a beach.
Mm-hmm.
X marks the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they always put a big X on the beach?
Yeah.
Where pirates would be digging?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. X represents the dowry. X represents the location where my vessel's located. And where is it located? It's located in the placenta.
Mm-hmm.
On the ground, inside the maternal afterbirth. Can you picture that?
Yes.
X marks the spot that I landed.
Yes.
But since I left it, I abandoned it, it became available for finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
Right.
But if I know that Mom gave it to me, then all claimants at that point are pirates.
Yes. And a load.
Because I'm the direct owner.
Mm-hmm.
Mom gave it to me directly.
Yeah. In perpetuity.
In perpetuity. Unbelievable.
Wow. An allodium on page 70 of Black's Law is land held absolutely in one's own right and not of any lord or superior. Land not subject to feudal duties or burdens. An estate held by absolute ownership without recognizing any superior to whom any duty is due on account thereof.
It sounds like everything.
Mm-hmm. Allodial is free, not holden of any lord or superior, owned without obligation of vassalage or fealty, the opposite of feudal.
There it is. I'm telling you right now.
Wow.
When you watch Star Trek and you watch the Borg, and they say, what is it? Is feudal. What is that line that they say?
I don't know it. I didn't watch them.
You never watched Star Trek?
No, I didn't have a TV during that era. I never watched it.
Oh, resistance.
Oh, resistance.
Resistance is futile.
Yes, I do know.
Now, when they say resistance is futile,
feudal.
Almost, again, futile, F-U-T-I-L-E, versus F-U-E-T.
Feudal. Feudal. Mm-hmm. Resistance is feudal. Wow.
And that's why when a cop has his knee on the back of your neck, he says, "Stop resisting."
Mm-hmm.
Stop resisting. So realistically, let's bring this all the way back around. They're forcing people to take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening is by claiming a birthday, you claim to be a child,
mm-hmm.
and then you are subject to the welfare state. What they're doing is they're actually they're forcing people to take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if I already have ownership, then everything they do is fraud.
Yeah.
We're talking about the moment of transfer.
Yep.
When dad's sperm fertilizes the ovum and changes the ovum, order out of chaos,
mm-hmm.
he changes the ovum, his 23 combine. He doesn't change anything. The 23 chromosomes combine to form a brand new, unique vessel
mm-hmm.
called zygote. But the zygote already has the gift from mom.
Yes.
At my earliest, mom's already given me the clod of dirt. It's already there.
Yeah.
You can almost think of it as think of it as a gift, but think about it as the bow around the box, around the gift. I'm going to look up the word bow just to see what it says, B-O-W. Think about a nice Christmas gift with a bow wrapped around it.
Mm-hmm.
A really pretty bow. The box and its bow.
Wow. It's not bow, it's also bow.
Oh, and bow. B-O-W?
Mm-hmm. Merriam's first definition is to cease from competition or resistance. Isn't that peaceable?
Is that the very first one?
Mm-hmm.
To cease from competition or resistance. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, if I already own it, I'm not in competition.
Mm-mm.
I don't need to resist when I already am. What?
Oh my. If you go down to the fourth definition.
Yeah?
Debut.
Debut?
Yeah. First appearance.
There it is.
A formal entrance into society. To make a first appearance or formal entrance.
Again.
Wow.
It is not the mama's boy.
Mm-mm.
It's the opposite.
Yep.
See, that's what people don't realize is the birthday gives rise to a child.
Yes.
An infancy that never goes beyond infancy. It becomes the mama's boy.
Yes.
But knowing the pellucid membrane was a transference of land, we become the owner, the allodial owner, the owner of the allodium underneath our house. Mm-hmm. So I put the house of Kallenbach on that land now, and I have a home. I'm not homeless.
Because you're in your body?
Because, yes, but I mean, I have the land under my house. Look at even in how did the Wizard of Oz begin?
The house lifted off and landed in a foreign place.
The house lifted off the land.
Mm-hmm.
The house was separated from the land.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. When I put my house on this land, I do it with knowledge of the gift, the dowry from mom.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know the dowry, it can never be separated. Because my house, Kallenbach, is now appurtenant to the land. And that land is not public. It's a dowry, it's a matrilineal dowry from mom to me.
Yeah.
In perpetuity. Just like Downton Abbey.
Yeah. So we are owners of allodial lands is ALLODARII. I'm trying to hear this. I'm trying to hear the sound of it, but I'm not getting it.
Where are you at?
Just definitions. I was just looking. I couldn't find it in Merriam-Webster, so I was just looking for how to say the word. But it's not
okay.
Sounding.
So, I mean, again,
wow.
This is it.
Wow.
And when you think about this is the sovereign position.
Yeah.
The problem is I mean, those people that want to control it. There's not going to be very many people. I mean, I'd be surprised if anybody that listened to this actually understood it at this level. Mm-hmm. So again, it's not a threat.
No.
Nobody cares about the biology. Everybody wants to fight for rights. Mm-hmm. They don't have any understanding that rights are attributable to property. Without property, there are no rights. Mm-hmm. If I own nothing, I have no rights.
Right.
I have rights to nothing. How's that? If I own nothing, I have rights to nothing.
That's right.
Which is nothing.
Mm-hmm. No thing.
No thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if I have allodium or allodial rights and title, rights, titles, and interest, at the first cause, there is no way to dispute this.
Mm-mm.
So look at it this way: the pellucid membrane is a direct transfer from mom to me,
mm-hmm.
but and as the clot of dirt.
Yeah, the ovum is the clot of dirt. Right?
No, the pellucid membrane is the clot of dirt.
And it is there before fertilization and after fertilization for 5 days.
So mom transferred to me the zygote directly
mm-hmm.
through a clot of dirt from her land.
Yes.
The pellucid membrane is the clot of dirt.
Yes.
And so she leaves it with me, transfers it to me, so when my vessel implants into her wall, I already have what most people would call title.
Yeah.
I am not a trespasser on mom's land.
She gave you a piece of her land through the
She
ovum.
identified me as the owner, so when I landed, I was already the owner.
Already the owner. Wow.
So when that piece of ground, that island, when it comes out as afterbirth, as part of the placenta, I own that island.
So it's the whole insular possession then.
I own the island my boat is on.
Mm-hmm.
So the indigenous person is both me and the vessel. I'm the captain of the vessel.
Right.
I am all of it.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm my mom's biology. I'm saying that my vessel has the right to be on the land.
Right.
Because she transferred that claim to me via pellucid membrane.
Right.
I don't think I can say this enough. I mean,
No.
again, if you know that the pellucid membrane is the transfer or dowry from mom to me, and then my boat lands into the wall of the uterus, I already have a right to be there.
Yes. You're legitimate right there.
I'm legitimate on that land.
Yes.
I'm not a stranger.
No. No.
So when the placenta comes out, I already own that piece of ground.
Yes.
My vessel's there, and the beach, the land upon which the vessel landed is there. And so the placenta becomes the evidence of my ownership rather than a ball and chain to sink me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's only a ball and chain if you accept the birthday fictional person. If you know the truth of the matter, then it is actually a gift.
Yeah. It's either or. It's all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Anything in between is a mistake.
Yeah.
And either or is a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is all.
Both and.
The truth is all.
Mm-hmm.
And that biological transfer, that biological clot of dirt, pellucid membrane from mom to me does not require a middleman.
Right.
It didn't then, it doesn't now.
And the Aramaic of the Lord's Prayer is, the first line is Abun Debashmaya, O Mother, Father, Creator of the universe.
Can you see that the pellucid membrane is a virgin?
Yes.
Right, because my existence was a product of coitus, was a product of an act of Congress between mom and dad, but it was not.
Mm-mm.
So she gave me a virginal land.
Yes.
For me.
Yeah.
And only me.
Yeah, it's unique to you forever and ever.
And that's the motherland.
Mm-hmm.
That's the motherland.
That's your own motherland.
The vessel, the boat is a product of mom and dad, but the motherland itself is the pellucid membrane, and it gives me all rights, title, and interest without paper to that fetal-maternal placenta.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. Elodium.
So Now the placenta is not a threat because we know that we have the dowry and that we can put our house on that without it being taxed.
Wow.
So the house of Kallenbach is untaxable. And it's not part of the Domesday Book or part of any survey.
No, and it's no longer their industrial property.
It's mine. I mean, my dad, I own that property now.
Mm-hmm.
Both the house and the land under it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Deliver us from evil.
Wow.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever.
And if you quit looking in the mirror, you get to live.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I got to go put a dryer back together.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah, that Downton Abbey, when I was watching it, I saw a lot of things in there, but it didn't make sense until I realized that the pellucid membrane was the dowry.
Wow.
From the American woman.
From the American woman.
Which is outside of the King of England, which is outside of the Church of Rome or Roman Catholicism. It is my legitimacy. My house, my boat landed here. And my mom gave me the motherland.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody to say or give me permission to do anything because I can go across that land all day long without an easement because I'm the owner.
And this is applicable to anyone in the world because everyone has a mother. That gave
everyone was created in the same way and through the fertilization process. Mm-hmm. And the product of that is the zygote, but the zygote had that pellucid membrane dowry already in existence. So yes, everybody already owns all their stuff. The problem is they want to fight and argue and arbitrate over who the owner is. Mm-hmm. I prefer just to be a pacifist and provide biological evidence that every embryologist on planet Earth would agree to. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I have to argue myself because it already is the truth of the matter, like you said earlier.
Yeah. Yep. You're a purebred.
I am a purebred.
A purebred pacifist.
All right, lady. I love you. Have a great day. Send it to me when you can. I'll post it.
All right.
Have a great day. Okay, bye.